In this video, I'm going to show you how to make these really sweet little tea bags. So here are some that I've made a while ago. Made this little box to pop them in, just a cardboard box that I covered in a little bit of favorite fabric. So these are very old ones. These are a few of the ones that I made for girls many years ago. So they're just some wool felt stitched. These ones have lavender inside them, and then a little bit of string and a little bit of fabric at the end. So as you can see, they're super simple and they are rather fun for a little bit of creative kitchen play. Here is what we're going to need. So some wool felt. I'm actually using on these ones here some, it's kind of like, I think it's like a woolen blanket actually that I have, which is beautiful. And you can also just use normal white wool felt. I always suggest wool felt. There's nothing quite like it. The acrylic felt just doesn't have the same feel and it's not as beautiful to work with. And I really feel like when we make things, it's a sense experience, not only for us and then for our children when they play with them. So that's my preference. So you're going to start with the wool felt. You're also going to need some twine or cotton string. I think this is just cotton cooking string actually I got from the kitchen. But these ones here that I made is just some twine from, I think from a gift or something. Anyway, so you also need some fabrics. I've got a little selection of favorite fabrics just for the ends, some embroidery threads, needles, scissors, some white embroidery thread, or just I love to use the waxed quilting thread as well. And if you wanted to not do it, so you can choose to do embroidery, or you could do use some wool felt. I've got some green leaves here, so let's start. So cut out your tea bags, and that's pretty self-explanatory. Just draw up a little pattern for yourself, cut 2 pieces out, and then you're ready to go. So taking the first piece, and with this piece I'm going to create some little leaves. So just placing one in position. I've got a needle threaded with some olive coloured embroidery thread. When I use embroidery thread, I always use 2 strands. So embroidery thread comes on a little mini skein, and then you would wind it, if you want to, onto one of these things, whatever they're called, and it comes in 6 strands. So I always take, hope you can see this, I split this so you only use 2 when I'm doing embroidery. If I wanted it really thick, I might do 3, but it's just nice and fine. So just stitching these leaves in place. Don't worry about it being perfect, just enjoy the process. So I'm going to kind of create, I could kind of stitch around the edge with a little tacking stitch or a whip stitch, but I'm going to just put some long stitches in place for this one, so it kind of sticks up, and do a little bit on this side, and then I will add my other leaf. That's going to go there. There's obviously so many different things you could stitch on there, but I kind of thought flowers or leaves kind of represented what's usually in a tea bag. Go crazy and do something unique to you. There we go. So we've stitched those in place, and I'm actually going to just do a little little kind of stem, I think, or yeah, I think so. Doing a little running stitch. There we go. I feel like I want to do some embroidery leaves, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay, so on the back I'm stitching off, so I just take a little stitch, try not to go through to the front, and then I do a second one. I catch the loop. You can see that loop there. I catch that loop, that knots the thread. It's secure, and now I can cut it off. There we go. So we have our little design. Now we're going to place the 2 sides together, taking some, I'm just here using 2 strands of like a white cream embroidery thread. Start around, I think I usually start around here or here, just on one side. And I sometimes do blanket stitch, and sometimes I just do a whip stitch, which is going over itself. So do whatever you would like. I'm going to just do it in a blanket stitch. So you will do this all the way around. Try and get your stitches kind of even. Please do not make make them perfect, but you just kind of get into a little rhythm of keeping the similar kind of width apart. And you're going to go all the way around till about this side here. So I've done one already. So this is one of the ones using a lovely woolen blanket. Now you have a few options. So we will stuff our tea bag using either, this is some millet that I've baked in the oven for about, it's on a low heat. I don't remember how long I did it for. I reckon about an hour. But I read that if you bake the millet, it stops like the animals, like rats and mice, etc., wanting to eat it. Obviously, it's a good option for weighing down dolls and things like that. So I thought I'd try it in the tea bags, and it works really well because it gives them some weight, and so they kind of are heavy, and then they kind of sit in the cup. So the girls thought they were pretty cool. So we're going to either use millet, and I sometimes put lavender or peppermint essential oil. I think we did peppermint in these ones. They actually smell amazing. Just a few drops into the millet and then mix them around, and then we put them, or I put them in. You could use chamomile. You could use, this is like a mix of all sorts of beautiful flowers, calendula and rose, or peppermint, whatever you wanted to stuff it with. But I'm going to do the millet because I really like the weight. I guess I could pop some chamomile in there as well. So get yourself a little bowl. I'm actually going to, this chamomile smells so nice. Shove them in there. There we go. You don't want to stuff it too much, but at the same time, it's nice to have some weight to it and to look like it's got something in it. So I'm just going to stand that up there, set this aside, and we're just going to work on the little string. So take some of your twine and cut a length. This is 10, 12 centimeters, whatever you want. And I like to tie a little knot in the end because I've worked out that it helps you to secure it in place. So tie a knot on one end, and then you need to cut out some more of your felt. So take a little piece of felt. I've actually used pinking shears, which give that lovely edge. So a piece of your wool felt, and then a piece of your fabric. So you can cut it out with the pinking shears or just straight, it doesn't matter. I think I was going to do one of these peachy colours. Maybe I'll do that one. Quite pretty, isn't it? So taking these two pieces and some pink thread. Have I got some ready here? Hopefully I have been organised. Maybe not. So I'll just thread this up. So you can use 2 strands of the embroidery cotton, or sometimes I just use the quilting thread, which is this here, or you could use whatever cotton thread you have, it doesn't matter. So we then take that little piece of wool felt, we position the string underneath or in the middle. I'm just going to trim that edge so it doesn't hang out, and then you put the fabric over the top. Then your knot inside that in, and you're just going to do a series of little stitches around to anchor on that piece of fabric and to make sure you get the string. So that going through the knot, I'll just push the knot through the middle. So just make sure you do catch, sew through the thread, the string I should say, so it really secures it in place. Almost there. As you can see, it's like very rustic. I like rustic. I like it to look very handmade, and there we go. So I might even can feel the knots there in the middle, so I'm just going to take a stitch to make sure I've really secured that in place, and then on the back I'm just going to take a few stitches, catch the loop, and then I can cut it up. I'm actually going to thread it through. If you thread your needle through the felt and come up somewhere, you can then chop it really close and the thread disappears into the felt. So that's done. So now what we can do is tie a knot on the other side, and you're going to put this inside your tea bag. So just get it close to the edge, or the end I should say. We've still got our thread attached. We've got the millet inside. Now actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I leave all that attached, get another needle and thread. That's got a knot, does it? Yep. And just stitch this in place on the edge here, the back. So taking a little stitch, and you're just going to stitch in place your knot. Maybe it would be a good idea to do this before you stuff your bag. So a few stitches, make sure that's nice and in place. There we go. I'm going to chop that up now. And now I continue with my blanket stitch. Making sure that millet is stuffed inside. A few bits are popping out, but that's okay. And you come around the top. Sometimes I just take a stitch through to the other side. It looks like it's thinning there, the fabric, so I'm going to have to take deeper, like stitches that come a little bit further down. Rethread my needle. So I just kind of take a few extra stitches around the top here because I don't want it to come out and I don't want the millet to be popping out. Oh, this needle doesn't want to stay threaded. Okay, I'll thread it one more time and we'll finish. Here we go. So the thing with the blanket, the woolen blanket, it doesn't, the edge is obviously quite different to the wool felt. Oh my god, my needles come out again. Oh. Okay. So you kind of get the idea, I guess, of how to make them. And you can make as many as you want. Make a little box. I also put them in a tin sometimes. And they're rather fun to play and make cups of tea with. So again, thread your needle through, come out somewhere random, and that means you can just chop off your thread and then the tail disappears into the tea bag. So there's a little tea bag. How cute is that? Which you could add to your tea bag box and have the little bits hanging out. A nice little invitation to get into the kitchen. So there's so many options of things you can, of ways you can customize these for you. So I hope you enjoy.